Go, 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 go.
3, 2, 1, 4 tires.
Still there, inside.
What a jump! What a jump!
The track is wet. It's good.
Still there, clear.
3, 2, 1. Green flag, green flag.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Foreign Field Podcast. I'm your host, Dom Capolupo, joined by Steve Ray, Sam Dooley, and Wesley Riddle. It is our final 2026 season preview podcast for the teams, and it is going to be 3 teams in one here. We've got Hyak, Haas, and Rick Ware Racing.
I'm going to lead it off with this kind of hobgob of teams that we're going. We're starting with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who raced 36 races. He finished 30th in the point standings, up from his 25th in 2024. He had no wins this year compared to his 1 win in 2024. Excuse me. He had 1 top 5 compared to 3 top 5s in 2024, so he dropped a little bit there. Another down stat here, he had 3 top 10s compared to his 6 the year before. Average finish was right at about where he was before at 22.89 compared to 22.06. His average start was up 2 positions, or down 2 positions, depending on how you look at it, to 27.89 compared to 25.7. He had no poles, same as 24. 4 DNFs. He had less DNFs this year than in 2024, and he had 8 laps led compared to 28 in 2024. By all accounts, I could probably make this short and sweet talking about Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Kind of what you come to expect from the 47 car. Don't think he's in any jeopardy of losing his ride because he's got sponsorship and he's a likable guy. And outside of the Carson Hocevar little scuffles that he encountered throughout the year, he was kind of a non-factor all year. Didn't really seem like he was a contender in any races for the most part, at least to my recollection. I could be corrected if you guys would like to, but it just kind of felt like, the 47 was there. He was around 30th, 25th to 30th every single race. It's what his average finish shows. It's what his average start shows. He was just there. And there's nothing really much more that I can add personally from the 47. And looking forward, I don't expect a huge jump. I expect it to be about the same for the Hyak Racing guys.
The one thing I found interesting in 2025 for Stenhouse was he led 1 lap on the superspeedway tracks compared to 22 laps he led in 2024, also getting a win at Talladega in the fall. So for Stenhouse, just a little weird that he wasn't leading more during the superspeedway races because he's arguably a top 5, top 10 driver on those superspeedway tracks, and he definitely gives you a chance to win every year at those types of tracks. He won the Daytona 500 in 2023, so he's obviously going to be in contention to win his 2nd Daytona 500 this year. But yeah, just want to see him try to control the races a little more in 2026 at the super speedways.
Yeah, I don't really have much else to add other than what you guys have said. Like Sam said, he was just kind of there. He was driving in circles with the rest of the cars. And I expect similar stats from the 47 team this year as well.
It doesn't seem like Hyak even has a technical alliance with Hendrick. It seems like they're just the one team that's out there kind of struggling the most to try to make it. And, after JTG kind of downsized and kind of rebranded just this last year, it seems like there's just this constant negative decline because at one point they were able to field 2 cars. Ryan Preece was in the 2nd car. It didn't go that great. And slowly but surely, their just overall speed and performance on the track has diminished. And with that, I also think that Ricky kind of struggles a little more in this car. I feel like he's a higher horsepower guy. Like you look back in his early seasons when he was with Roush Fenway, kind of when they were on the decline, like he had some really good speed that was overlooked in a majority of his runs and showed a little bit more consistency, even with the recklessness that he used to have. But yeah, recently it just hasn't been there. But he is a very likable guy, very contending driver. You know, he's able to get the most out of his car when he has some speed. But I feel like overall they just it just doesn't seem like Hyak might be around a lot longer. Just there's not really a lot of upswing and no real signs to show that they will be able to leapfrog a lot of these guys when they, a lot of the competition has just more resources.
So do we think Stenhouse can get multiple top fives in 26?
I think if he does get multiple top fives, it'll only be 2. I mean, you have 6 super speedway races, so you think if you can get 2 out of 6 there, plus if you come across any sort of fuel strategy races, maybe sneak another one out there. I don't see more than 2 though. So if he does, it won't be much more than that.
I'll go with I'll take the over. I want Ricky Stenhouse to do well, so I'll take the over. Uh, we've all mentioned his super speedway abilities, and I think that's where it'll happen. We got 6 of them. Uh, he's that's his best shot to pounce. So I could see him getting top five, 2 top fives out of those 6 races.
It's doable, and I'm with you, Sam. I mean, I love Ricky. I just don't see it this year. I think the higher horsepower could help him, but the team that he's driving for, I don't think that's going to help. I think if he was able to step away, maybe somehow luck into getting back with RFK, that they've shown improvements and that Brad's taken over the team, I really think that they could put their trust back into having Ricky on the team and he could make the playoffs no problem. But unfortunately, slow cars go slow. Hyak's arguably the slowest. One of the top 3 slowest in the whole Cup Series. So I'm gonna say no.
I'm also going to go yes, because look at one track that people don't really think of when you look at Ricky Stenhouse Jr., but he has 2 top tens at Texas in the last 3 years. Finished 6th there in 2025, finished 9th there in 2023. I mean, Texas is a crazy race. It's arguably a race of survival, and it seems like Ricky, if he's been able to survive those 2 out of those 3 races, so why not do it again? So, yeah, I'll say he can get 1 or 2 at a super speedway, maybe do it at Texas again, and yeah, I think he'll get at least 2 this year.
What's going to move us over to the Haas Factory Team driver of Cole Custer in the number 41 car. Looking at 2025 stats, no wins, 2 top fives, those coming at the summer Daytona race and the fall Talladega race. The 3 top tens, the additional top 10 coming at Mexico City of all races. Go ahead and punch your bingo card if you had that going into the beginning of last year. Average finish, about 23 and a half, right around his average start as well at 23.6. 0 poles, 4 DNFs, 10 laps led for the 41 team in 2025. The biggest change going into 2026 is a change in manufacturers for Haas Factory Team, leaving Ford and going to the Chevrolet camp for 2026. Really nothing to highlight as far as Cole Custer's 2025 season, other than the fact that he was in the top 2 on the final lap of both races at Daytona, was in contention to potentially win the Daytona 500 until he got wrecked there on the last lap, thanks to Denny Hamlin. And then in the summer race, was battling Justin Haley on the back straightaway, ultimately got passed by Ryan Blaney coming to the checkered flag. But those are really only his 2 highlights of 2025, other than that 8th place finish at Mexico City. Haas, now that they've kind of rebranded, Tony Stewart has left that portion of the team. I think there's just not really much daylight or much light at the end of the tunnel for Haas going into this year. Obviously, changing from Ford to Chevrolet and getting up to speed with all that. I mean, there's going to be some struggles with that right out of the gate. And really, I just don't see much improvement from this at all. I think this is going to be another down year for Haas and the 41 team. And, I don't expect any wins. I really don't see the top 5s and top 10s improving. Average finish, I'm surprised, is at a 23.5 from last year. I thought it would have been much lower than that. But 10 laps led and 40 DNFs, I mean, I don't see those being improved upon much either. So just kind of another, I don't want to call Cole a field filler, but the car itself, again, is just putting a car on the grid is kind of how I look at the Haas 41 car.
It's another case of, I think, complacency, similar to the complacency that Austin Dillon has with Richard Childress, with Joe Custer, the team president of the team. Like, he's not going to ever step away from Haas. And I feel like that, an opportunity to step away and join another program might be beneficial, but maybe the switch of manufacturers could be kind of the change that he needs to be able to show some, better performance and better results. But I feel like Haas, we have to consider a little bit that it was their first year of the rebrand after Tony Stewart stepped away. So that could have played a factor in just trying to get their feet wet. And then obviously Ford, kind of the third tier of, they've always been behind Chevy and Toyota when it comes to just the speed from a 36 race season. So, switching manufacturer to Chevy might be exactly what they need. And also, you just look at Cole Custer, like in Cup. I mean, he hasn't been the most competitive, but you look at just his tenure in Xfinity, right? He's lights out, and that's a much harder car to drive. So Cole Custer does have the driving talent. He does have the ability, but it might just be something with the car, and it also might be something with the team. So he's very capable of performing better. It's just a matter of, what steps I think can the team do as a whole to show up with a little more on speed product. And but I also do think that Cole is just too complacent being at Haas Factory Team.
Yeah, this is going back to like shades of the mid 2000s of the early Haas days where you had Jason Leffler, you had Johnny Sauter, Jeff Green. Now that they're going to Chevy and they're going to be in an alliance with Hendrick Motorsports like they were about 20 years ago. Unfortunately, while they were in an alliance with Hendrick, they had a couple of flashes here and there, but really nothing crazy. And you bring up Cole Custer. I mean, I think part of it might be the struggle of the next gen car. He's kind of in that tier of drivers where he's like really good on the O'Reilly side, but not quite there on the Cup side. Kind of falls like in that, if you're looking at baseball, major league to AAA, he's kind of in like that 4A guy where he's going to not really excel at the majors, but be really good in AAA, kind of like a Justin Allgaier these days. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see what 2026 brings for Haas, how much longer realistically they're going to stay around in the Cup Series. That part's hard to say. They do have Sheldon Creed and Sam Mayer in the O'Reilly Series. So does Cole stick around in the 41 car? Do they try moving him back, move one of those guys up? That part is to be determined as we progress through the year. But yeah, really just not much more doom and gloom than there is right now for the 41 team.
One word for Steve, rage bait. One word for Cole Custer, irrelevant. it's kind of sad to see what happened with Cole Custer 2019. He was a part of that big three in the O'Reilly Auto Parts series with him, Christopher Bell, and Tyler Reddick. And then they all went to the Cup Series in 2020. Cole got that win at Kentucky, and then ever since then has really kind of been irrelevant compared to Reddick and Bell. So, yeah, maybe, like you said, Wes, complacency, or really maybe Custer just needs to go back down to O'Reilly and just be a lifer there, kind of like a Justin Allgaier, because he'd be very successful, I think, and could win multiple championships in that series for sure. And do we think he has any chance of finishing top 30 in points this season?
I would say with pretty high confidence, no chance at a top 30 in points.
I would also say fairly high confidence that I'm going to be a no as well.
I'm going to say no, but with not high confidence. And I only say that because of the manufacturer switch. I think that they're making an effort to try to improve that program as a whole. They wouldn't be switching if there wasn't something that was holding them back. I feel like they were disappointed with the Ford performance, and then obviously just the rebranding. I feel like going out the sophomore year, it's going to be tough for them to do a lot worse. They're already down there at the bottom, so I still say no. But I definitely think that they have the chance to improve. I mean, Gene Haas has been around for a long time. Cole Custer's Xfinity champion. Yeah, I mean, he just won it, what, 2 years ago, and he's finished second in points like three times. I mean, he knows how to drive. It's just a matter of getting the results. So, I think he'll be right there around Ricky Stenhouse, maybe about 30th or 31st. I think he can improve, though. I think he could definitely outdo the Collie guys. I'm worried about them. And a few of the other teams back there. I mean, it's always close. I feel like that battle right around that region is always really tight.
Yeah, I'm going no as well. He could drop to 35th and I would not be surprised at all out of the full-time drivers.
And that's going to take us to our last driver, our very last one, and pretty much wrap us up for our team previews. But that's Cody Ware. Cody Ware had one of the roughest seasons, I feel like, for a part-time driver or full-time driver in quite a while. It was rough. 36 races. He finished 36, of course, in points with no wins, no top fives and no top tens. He did have one top five and top 10 last year. His average finish was 30.4 and his average start was 34.9. Of course, last year he didn't compete in the full year. Same with 2023. 2022, I think, was the last year he was full time in the series. Didn't have any poles and had, unfortunately, and this is where the biggest downside came, 11 DNFs. 11 DNFs is not good. And a lot of it came from incidents, but I noticed, you go back and look, a lot of those incidents were more mechanical based and tire based, just flat tires, than him actually making the driver errors that he made when he was really early in his career. So he's gotten better. He's just he's in a slow car. Like there's no other way around it. He's in a slow car. It's impossible for that team and where they're at now to really make a lot of improvement to be able to leap ahead of some of the guys that are, 100 points usually on average ahead of him each and every year. But a lot of those wrecks were not of his own doing. You think of Chicago, the street course race. I mean, his Hans device broke when he hit the wall head on at 98, 99 miles an hour. It was a car, a break in the car, just something that he didn't have any control of. And he was running well up to that point. I think he actually could have finished top 10 and was running top 10 there in the closing stages of that race. But it just was not the year for Cody Ware, and just hitting the wall one too many times. But again, you have cars that break, there's nothing you can do about it. It's out of his control, and the team really needs to get a hold of that, or else they're just going to have an even worse season. But 32 laps led. He did have his moment at Daytona where he wasn't saving fuel and was able to go up front, lead laps, and hold the field behind him. So, I mean, good for him, right? It's take advantage when you can of those opportunities. You're not going to get a lot of them. And the underfunded guys, the teams that run in the back, usually they don't get that many opportunities with how competitive it is these days. So it's nice to see him run up front at those super speedways because he does honestly perform pretty well. And yeah, just overall, really unfortunate. Um, it's going to be a tough year, but I don't know if it can get much worse.
Yeah, I feel like Cody Ware's highlight of this year was for some reason in NASCAR 25 he has like 20 paint schemes or something. Every single car that he ran this year is in that game. So congrats to him on that. Arby's, we got the beef. Tommy Baldwin, cool guy, awesome on the pod. Other than that, yeah, he's Cody Ware. His last name is the reason why he has a ride. So there's nothing really much else to add on to Cody Ware from me.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, 7 of his 11 DNFs were due to accident. So 4 of those times were mechanical failures, which I mean, for Rick Ware Racing, not Wick Ware Racing, like I said at the beginning of the show, is not too bad for where the status of the team is. Just like to see that get cleaned up a little bit. Obviously, let's cut those DNFs in half at least and go from there. And let's try to get a top 10 in on a super speedway race because he led laps at Daytona, and it's kind of cool seeing a Rick Ware Racing car up front. Just a change of pace for the field and shows that they can have pace on a super speedway and not just run 30th all day and luck into a top 15 with carnage and everything. So with that, do we think Cody Ware gets a top 10 this season?
I think the only way that he does is if a situation like at the end of the Daytona 500 last year, where William Byron was like 10th or 12th coming down the back straightaway and everybody wrecked in front of him and he just came driving right through. I think if there's a situation like that where Cody Ware is going to be in 15th, 20th place, whatever, and everybody wrecks in front of him, then he'll get through. I think that would be the only way that he gets to a top 10 this year.
He does not.
I'll take one just because I don't think it can be much worse.
I'm going to say no, but would not be surprised if he does get one. So that's it. 2026 team previews are in the books. 12 episodes. If you're listening to this episode and you think we missed the team you're rooting for this season, well, we didn't miss it. Just go on YouTube. There is a playlist on there with every episode, with every team. Spotify, all the episodes are pretty much in order since we started back in January. Little bittersweet moment, 12 episodes previewing the entire season. We'll see if any of our predictions come true. Our big season long predictions podcast will be coming out, I believe, tomorrow. Today's Tuesday, so tomorrow, Wednesday, we'll have that out. And then a Daytona 500 preview, first real preview pod of the season coming out. I'm going to say Friday. We'll wait till the duels are settled and then we'll get that episode out Friday for you guys. So, Foreign Field Podcast on all social media platforms. Keep up with us. Facebook, we're over 4,000 followers. So, thank you if you are following us on Facebook. And if you're not, just hit that follow button and keep track of all the posts. We're really hitting the stride, I think, and I'm enjoying it. YouTube, subscribe. Got to get some more subscribers on there. More content coming out on there as well. So, for Wes, Sam, Steve, I'm Dom, and we'll see you tomorrow for a 2026 season predictions podcast.